All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Winnebago County Board meeting. Tonight is Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Now, I am going to call the clerk to call the roll because we have Board Member Penny who's on remotely, so we can have him join in. Clerk.
Thank you, Chairman. We will start with Mr. Neighbors.
Here.
Mr. Penny. Mr. Salgado.
Here. Present.
Mr. Scroll.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Mr. Tassoni. Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Mr. Webster. Mr. Arena. Mr. Booker. Mr. Butita. Mrs. Crosby. Ms. Fellers.
Present.
Mrs. Gorel. Mr. Guevara. Ms. Hansard. Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Lindmark. Mr. McCarthy. Mr. McDonald. Thank you all, Chairman. 19 board members present, 1 board member absent.
Do we know if Mr. Penny's? He is, Mr. Chair. He's on? Yes. Can I get a motion to allow John Penny to join our meeting? Motion by Mr. Guevara and Mr. Sweeney, seconded by Mr. Thompson. All in favor of allowing Mr. Penny to join us, say aye. 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 Okay. Mr. Penny, you are part of the quorum now. All right, so first, before we move on to our agenda, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a longtime Winnebago County employee, Ruth Raxter, who passed away suddenly last Friday. Ruth began her career with the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office as a senior correctional officer and a PREA compliance officer in 2001, and proudly went on to serve the county for the following 23 years. Ruth met her best friend and wife, Shireen Elmore, in 2005, and they spent 19 years together making beautiful memories. Ruth had just retired from the Sheriff's Office on March 29, 2024, and on April 9th, celebrated her 63rd birthday. On the night of April 19th, the evening she passed away in her home, Ruth was unaware she would have been attending a surprise birthday party to honor her recent birthday and her retirement. Survived by her loving wife, daughter, son, grandchildren, and loving family and friends, Ruth will be remembered with a visitation and funeral service tomorrow, Friday, at Sunset Funeral Home in McChesney Park. Please stand and join me in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Ruth Raxter. Please stay standing for the invocation and pledge allegiance, which is given by board member Michael Thompson.
Lord Jesus, you are above anyone or anything else. Please help our government to lead our county according to your will. We know that apart from your wisdom and provision, we are nothing. So we ask you, Lord, to please guide us as leaders and elected officials in all our plans for our county. Help us also to serve you with all integrity and humility. Bless us, O God, and keep us safe as we travel home from our meeting tonight safely. These we ask in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, are there any adjustments to the agenda this evening?
There are just 2 minor adjustments. One, Mr. Chairman, members of the board will have a presentation, brief presentation by Sheriff Caruana. And then secondly, I'd like to make an announcement that Ashley Spohr was appointed the interim director of the Community Development Department about 2.5 months ago, the first part of February, in consultation with Chairman Shirelli and County Administration. We'd like to announce that Ashley is now the permanent director of the department, and so we've removed the interim label from her title, and now she's the permanent director. And she's been performing at a very high level for the last 2.5 months, and we thought it was appropriate to make that appointment permanent and announce that to the board. So Ashley, congratulations.
Congratulations, Ashley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And you said the sheriff can only speak for 3 minutes?
Yes, 3 minutes. We have a buzzer.
All right.
It's ready.
All right. Okay. So this evening, we have a special awards presentation. Nearly a month ago, on March 27th, our community suffered horrific tragedies when 4 innocent citizens lost their lives during a senseless, brutal attack. As we continue to mourn the loss of Ramona Shupak, Jacob Shupak, Jay Larson, and Jenna Newcomb, it is important to recognize Keith Farney, who courageously and selflessly intervened during the attack to directly save the life of Lindsay Craig, and Deputy Michael Gambino, who immediately answered the call of duty to finally stop the threat from this heinous rampage that saved potentially many lives in our community. So I want to call up Sheriff Caruana, please. And as the sheriff comes up, if Deputy Gambino, if you can come forward also.
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to start. We just did an interview, I think it was with 17, and during that interview, Michael's like, hey, look, let's not forget that it was a tragedy, and I'm honoring him for his bravery, but we still are mourning that horrific event on March 27th, because it was a terrible, terrible tragedy, and we had some people in the community that engaged and helped stop that, and he's one of them. And as far as I'm concerned, he represents, and like he said, and I mirror that, a family of law enforcement. We are a family. We train together, and we do very good police work, very ethical police work, and they go out every night and do what they have to do. I've ridden with them a few times, and again, I'm honored to be here to represent the men and women of this department. So with that said, on March 27th, 2014, Michael was working a hire back, so that wasn't his regular shift, so he was working a hire back. And he heard on the radio, Rockford Police dispatching a stabbing to Home Street. So Michael right away responded to the area, and while en route, he heard that there was multiple stabbings. A description came out of the suspect, so right away, you know, implanting that in his memory, he started looking for them, and Michael immediately saw the suspect at large running through the fields or between the two houses, which I could, you know, see them, and he immediately jumped over, not climbed over, jumped over the fences with the suspect ahead of him, tackling him, and then had to fight with him for 5 to 10 seconds, which is a long time to be scrapping with somebody. He sustained some injuries to his head, I think his chin and his hand. Either got stabbed or got caught up on one of the fences. Immediately, the Rockford PD in Loves Park jumped in and arrested and took him into custody. I want to remind everybody that the suspect injured 11 people and killed 4. He stopped this from happening with his immediate attention to detail. He immediately listening to the radio, and if you look at the body cams, he was in a different area. Take off running. I wish I could run like that. I guess at one time when I was 21 I could, right? Now I just limp, but he took off running, jumped in his car, went to the area that he was listening to, and engaged and did what he had to do. And I'm very, very proud of him. I'm very proud of him doing what he had to do. He is, again, what we look at is professional, dedicated took his own life for the lives of others because we didn't know what this guy was going to do. Obviously, he knew that there were stabbings and that people were dead. And he did what he had to do, and he had to engage. So I'm very, very proud of him. I have an award for you. It's a Valor Award presented to Deputy Michael Gambino for your swift thinking, professional action, bravery, courage on March 27, 2024, that led to the arrest of an active killer. Thank you for going above and beyond, serving and protecting the citizens of Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Gary Carolina. Thank you. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Keep it coming, keep it coming. All right, you're not done yet.
Okay.
All right. So on behalf of the Winnebago County Board, myself, and all the administration, and I'm sure the 1,400-plus employees in this county, and all our citizens, it's with our greatest appreciation that we hereby honor Deputy Michael Gambino in recognition of your extraordinary effort and selfless actions on March 27, 2024. Your bravery saved lives. Winnebago County, Illinois. So, congratulations. You want to say a few words?
Yeah, I'll say thank you.
Sure he does.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Citizens of our county, the county board, sheriff's deputies, sergeants, lieutenants, chiefs. I appreciate you all being here. It means a lot to get these awards, but at the same time, in the end, we're all just out there doing our job every day. And it just happened to be that day that I was able to do mine. And I really don't want anybody in this room and in the county, for that matter, to forget why we're actually here today. A lot of lives were lost, young lives, people hurt. Some people in this room, you may know who they were on a personal level or a friend level. So just keep thinking about them, say a prayer. Thank you.
So if all the sheriff's department or police agencies in the room can please stand and be recognized also. All right, thank you to all of you. So next, if Keith Farney would please come forward.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. All right. Keith Farney, he's a hero, okay? I mean, I met him at the hospital. He was getting discharged, and I told him that. I'm going to say it again. He's a hero. And sometimes people will say, a lot of times they'll say, I didn't do anything right or wrong or a superhero type of thing. But when they say that, they don't realize what they did because he did. He stopped this lady, instead of 4 being deceased, 5, and I guarantee you he would have killed her. I looked up the definition of what a hero is. It's a person who is admired and idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, and their noble qualities. And that explains it 100%. And this is what happened. So obviously it was, again, March 27th, and Christopher Soto broke into a house on Florence, gaining entry and chasing this young lady around. She ran out of the house and down the street to Eggleston. He tackled her and was in the process of stabbing her. Keith saw this. He could have just kept on going, okay? He saw this happening. He jumps out of his car and he engages Soto. stopping this, because she was on a ventilator. She got stabbed pretty bad, okay? He stopped that. In the meantime, while he was engaged in stopping that, it allowed the police and Michael on the sheriff's office to do what they had to do. Subsequently, Soto took off. He stopped the attack. He runs through some yards and comes back and engages him again, trying to get into his car. And you can see it on the body cams. He engages him. This is where he gets stabbed a few times, but he didn't let him get in his car because we were able to keep that perimeter. If he would have gotten into that car, who knows what would have happened. I'm sure it would have been a chase. People, God forbid, would have gotten killed. We didn't want that. So we don't even know what we don't know and what he stopped, okay? He stopped that young woman from getting killed, but above and beyond, he engaged him from getting in that car and kept him in that area while Michael was able to get into the area and then give chase. Again, I can't thank you enough. I appreciate what you do, because a lot of people nowadays would just say, I'm moving on. I'm not going to engage. But again, you're a hero. I know you don't want to hear that, but you are. So when you look in the mirror, realize that. All right? I have an award for you, too. Again, a Civilian Life-Saving Award presented to Keith Varner in recognition of the selfless and courageous acts on March 27, 2024, of rendering aid in a sudden and unexpected situation which resulted in a saving of a life by the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office and myself, Gary Caruana. Thank you very much.
Well said, Sheriff. Well done, Keith. So this award, Keith, is with our greatest appreciation. We hereby honor Keith Varney in recognition of your extraordinary effort and selfless actions on March 27, 2024, for your bravery that saved lives from Winnebago County, Illinois. So on behalf of the Winnebago County Board, myself, the administration, and I'm sure every citizen in this county. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So he actually did get in my car.
Did you get in your car?
I had to open the door and I had to throw him out.
Good for you.
So I don't know if anybody else would have done the same thing, but I've always believed that you got to help other people. And I'd like to thank the officers that were there and the officers that are helping to protect everybody from people like this. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Keith, thank you again, and your family. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad you threw him out of that car because, again, I've been in a few chases and they're not pretty, so I'm very happy that you engage into what you want to do. You said I have 3 minutes.
No, you're not done. You already exceeded 3. All right. We also want to recognize Cassidy Davenport for her courageous act of life-saving measures that she took to save a young child's life in our community. I believe it's accurate, Cassidy recently completed a life-saving course with Rockton Fire. Okay. So I want to call Cassidy up here, and if you want to step forward, and you can bring your parents up if you like, and Chief, if you want to come on up.
Go over the scenario.
Yeah.
Hi, Cassie. Thank you for doing what you did. I appreciate it. Okay, here's the scenario, March 26th, 8:15 p.m. Cassidy was working at Target as an employee at Target, and a lady came in to shop or do whatever she would needed to do, went back out to the car, and her child was with another child, and the baby was choking and couldn't breathe. The lady came into the Target holding the baby, crying, screaming, hysterical. I think all of us would be. Cassidy immediately engaged, knowing what to do, and you didn't do CPR, but you were able to dislodge the item, coffin, and then the baby started to breathe, and then the fire department came and took over. If it wasn't for you to do that and know what to do in a choking situation, many people have passed away and died. So I thank you for doing what you did, and I've got a little word for you. Again, another Civilian Life-Saving Award presented to Cassie Davenport in recognition of the selfless act of kindness on March 26, 2024, for rendering aid in a sudden and unexpected situation, which resulted in a life-saving of a child choking and not breathing. From the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department and myself. Thank you.
Just to reiterate, I'm Chief Bergeron with Harlem Roscoe. We also answered the call that night along with North Park Fire. We were busy with multiple calls in our jurisdiction, so North Park assisted us on the ambulance. Cassie, thank you for all you did that night. As they alluded earlier, of the tragedy that happened in Rockford, this is an example where it turned out very well. And, prior to doing my award to all the sheriff's deputies, Rockford, all the police involved that day, thank you from the fire side of it. We work together, and we truly have your back also. So on behalf of Harlem Roscoe Fire, I'd like to present with you the Fire Chief's Life Savings Award awarded to Cassidy Davenport in 2024. Now, you better take this. Last time I held one of these, it dropped, and these shattered in about 1 million pieces, so you may want to take that. Thank you.
And finally, Cassidy. Did you expect 3 tonight? No. Okay, you deserve more. All right, so this is the Chairman's Service Excellence Award. It's presented to Cassidy. With great appreciation, I, Joseph Shirelli, Chairman of the Winnebago County Board, do hereby recognize Cassidy Davenport for saving the life of a small child in April of 2024. If it were not for her heroic actions that evening, a young life may have been lost. Ms. Davenport represents the very best values of our community, and her life-saving actions are commended. So congratulations on Winnebago County Board and the entire Winnebago County.
I would like to start by thanking my parents for just allowing me to go on that field trip, because they're the only reasons I was able to get CPR certified and do what I did. So if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have known what to do, and I wouldn't have been able to take action right away as I was able to. And I would also like to thank the Roscoe-Rockton Fire Department for what they put on, and of course my school, Hananiga, for letting me take that class and letting me go on that field trip and providing what they provide for everybody. Thank you.
You want to get closer? You need to come closer.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't that wonderful? Right? Appreciate this opportunity. I want to thank the Gambino family that's here also, and the Farney family and the Cass Herb family. It's amazing the support that the community has given all 3 of them. Much deserved, so thank you. So who wants to hear a presentation from the sheriff? Raise your hand.
Bye.
We got 1 hand, 2 hands. All right, so we're going to get back to our agenda, the presentations, and I'd like to present Sheriff Caruana. You've got 3 minutes, Sheriff.
Wow, some very good, nice stuff, very cool stuff that the community engaged with, and I think that's honorable, and I'm very proud of the community doing that, especially some tough times right now that we're going through in society and in the law enforcement world. Very proud of the department. Michael is an example of what all they do every day with their training and do what they need to do. I've seen it firsthand. I'm going to give just a brief overview. You guys have it. I'm not following that word for word because it's long, but I wanted you guys to see it, and at your convenience, if you need some reading material to fall asleep, that's going to be it. So it's just kind of an annual report of 2023, and we're just going to go over what we did. So go ahead to the next slide, please. Who's got the clicker? Apparently I have the clicker. Okay, so this is our mission statement. When I first came in a while back, I wanted to have a mission statement to make sure that we had focus on what we want to do and how we want to do it. And you're going to see in that packet, you're going to see strategic plans and you're going to see trend graphs. And I believe 100% in strategic plans because it gives us a guideline of where we got to go and what we have to do, and we stay focused all the time. So we have the mission statement, and obviously we want to provide the best public service that we can, second to none. And I think we're there, and we're going to continue to raise the bar whenever we're going to be constructively dissatisfied, but we're there. But again, constructively dissatisfied to keep reaching for new levels. But we got to be willing to go out there every day, and I think these deputies, wherever they're at in this department, reflect that. They're willing to do this job, and they don't have reluctance to do this job. They're caring, they look at what they have to do, and they're going to serve the community, and they're going to serve with empathy. They're going to show care for the people, the complainants, the victims, and obviously everybody that they come in contact with. Even people that we arrest, we're going to treat them with respect and dignity and put them into the court system. And again, this is very important to me. Coming from a corporate background, bringing it into law enforcement, we've got to be service-orientated, and we got to constantly focus on the fact of what we do and how we do it, and that we're passing that service-orientated mind. Not that we're the police and they can come to us. No, we go to them, and I explained that to them today. We go to them and we serve them, and we're not entitled to these positions. We have to earn them every single day. And these are examples right now tonight of how they earn it every single day. So here was the structure in 2023. We have a little bit new of the structure of the Sheriff's Department. And I'll have you could read that at your reading pleasure, but it kind of breaks down all the departments and all the things that are going on with that sheriff's office. There are roughly 400 people that work there, and we have a lot of things going on from the patrol division through McChesney Park, through the detective bureau, the 911, the administrative bureau, and then corrections. So there's a lot of things going on in our records bureau, our courthouse security. So that's kind of our, if you will, our corporate structure. Again, our budget and how it is budgeted, I know so well that Steve Schultz understands this 100%, but this is how it broke out in 2023, and it's 18 million, some change in the law enforcement, 911, 1,800,000, and ESDA 221,000. I got to tell you, we have Trent Brass in there right now, and he's doing an excellent job of communicating with the fire departments. He's communicating with the people with the river, and between myself, him, and ComEd, we did as much as we could possibly to control that river. And then in our jail, 18 million. So it's broken up, and there's a lot of things going on in that with that budget. I think I'm over my 3 minutes, so if you guys want me to stop, I'll be more than happy.
Anybody got the buzzer?
Okay, so we have the Administrative Service Bureau, and that takes in a lot of departments. There's a lot of things going on here, and we have a Deputy Chief, Josh Gettner, and a Lieutenant, Ryan Haven, that is running that now. And they're doing an excellent job, but they take in the courthouse facilities, the school resource officers, again, community policing, the Civil Process Division, which takes in the evictions and summonses, subpoenas, order protections, the Records Bureau, the accreditation. We're accredited through CALEA, and there's no small feat. CALEA looks at many, many different elements, and they come in and do an internal audit, and we're accredited through them with excellence. That means that we're following what the standards are in the law enforcement community throughout the country. So I'm very proud of that. They actually support the Mayor Commission that comes in, and they will interview our deputies and then put them on a list to be hired or promoted or have them pay raise. They have training and they have personnel. So there's a lot of things going on with the training. Frank Ingardona is our director of training, but he falls under this bureau, and he does an excellent job internally and externally as he goes out throughout the community and does safety talks, awareness talks, so that the community understands, the businesses understand, in case there's an active shooter or other issues of safety, he speaks to them all the time. Our 911 facility is on its own, is standing on its own now. We're second to none. That is ran by, right now, Jen Fay, and we are working slowly on integrating fire to our dispatch model, which is a very smart move, because there's delays in what's happening now, and those 2 to 3 minute delays can mean life or death. And I'll give you an example. It can be a domestic violence type of thing. Whoever is the suspect sets a house on fire. These guys are rolling to put out the fire, and you have a suspect very upset, and he starts shooting firemen. This model that we're trying to go to, direct in the same room, dispatching fire, we're already dispatching Loves Park Fire, gives us the ability to talk directly to the firemen, immediately dispatch, and it's time critical, where it's going to be good for the community, good for the safety of the firemen, and then again, obviously, the law enforcement agencies that are responding. We also have, you can see NG 911. That's the next generation, which is fiber optics. So if a system goes down, they will be able to bounce to different other PSAPs, it's called, radio rooms. So we could bounce to DeKalb, and DeKalb can help us dispatch. We can bounce to wherever the other PSAP is, and they can help us dispatch, and we'll help them dispatch. So it's a great model. We are very, I would say probably 95% staffed. We have a training supervisor now. We have some good people working in there, and we have one 911 operator, right? All right. All right, this is our uniform division, and Sean Hughes and Anthony Michelli have the Loves Park area, and they're responsible. We have, obviously, we have the Forest Preserve District, we have the school resources in Harlem, South Beloit, and Winnebago, or Harlem and South Beloit, and that is, I love having those school resources officers in there, because what they do is they high-five the kids, they get to know them. If there's some issues going to go on, that they have their ears to what's going on, they give them lunch money. If they can be very preventative, instead of reacting, they can be proactive in being in there, so I love that they're in there. The patrol division also is aggressive in, again, stopping crime, trying to be proactive on what's going on out in the street, and then taking timely action like you see that we just did. And then again, we have the McChesney Park Division. The Detective Bureau is headed up by Kyle Boomer. We have 2 sergeants. We have one in narcotics and one in the Detective Bureau, and they do a fabulous job. Now, they investigate anything from thefts to homicides, and sure enough, we've had them, okay? And you just saw what we did in the Pecatonica River, and at the same time, we had a murder on Memorial. So they see horrendous things, but they know how to work through it, they know what to do, and they know how to do it. By the way, we just hired a clinical counselor, internal for the department, so what these folks see, if they want to go, and this person is going to develop financial health, fitness health, psychological health, and they're going to work with the department, in the department. They're part of one of our employees with Winnebago County, and she's starting on Monday, and that's cutting edge. I was teaching school out on the East Coast, and a lot of these East Coast departments have it, the larger departments. It's like, why can't we bring this here for our people? And so we did, and we're starting that again on Monday. But they're responsible for the investigations, crime scene, narcotics, evidence. You see it says Crime Deterrence Unit, and it said created in 2020. I created it, we had to stop it, and then create it again. But they're out there, and they're proactively looking for bad people that are that could cause this situation to happen. They're talking with sources. They're out there shaking the trees and finding out information, stopping cars, and getting a lot of drugs and guns off the street proactively before we have a situation like we did on Skokie and Holmes. We have an FBI Safe Streets Task Force. I have a deputy assigned to that working with the FBI, and then a Homeland Security helicopter that you probably see when I do our Crime Deterrence Unit detail. and we go into the high crime areas, they're in the air. I have a part-time deputy that is assigned to that, which allows us to get the helicopter for free. So, my budget. Corrections Bureau is a big operation, but I'm proud of what they're doing up there because that's a lot of moving parts up there. I'll be more than happy to tour anybody that wants to go through. It's as clean as a hospital. They do a very good job up there. It's the second largest jail to Cook County. Our average daily population in 2023 was 787 people, but we follow all the standards of what we have to do as far as the statutes and the Illinois Department of Corrections and jail standards. That's headed up right now by a jail superintendent, and then they report to Rick and then myself. By the way, Bob Redmond announced his retirement. He's going to be retiring on the 24th, I think his last day is of May. And Kevin Ogden is going to take that new responsibility. Kevin Ogden is an ex-second-in-command deputy chief from Rockford. He was working for myself doing background checks, and he's going to take that responsibility, so he has a skill set. So he'll do a good job. He reported to O'Shea when he was in Rockford. These are our crime stats. And now, it breaks down violent crimes and property crimes. So murder, non-negligent homicide, forcible rape, robbery, aggravated assault, and then the property crimes are burglary, theft, motor vehicle, arson, thefts. And you can see, and I didn't want to bore you, and I know I'm over my 3 minutes, so I didn't want to keep breaking it down, but you can see that there's a trend of the crimes going down starting in 19 till 2023. And again, that's the excellent work of this whole department doing what they have to do and engage. And you have it in your packets. Okay, courthouse security, believe it or not, 406,000 people walked through those doors in 2023, coming here and going to the other buildings. And you can see how they break down. Administration building was 51,464. Adult probation, 60,000. The Justice Center, CJC, is 93,000. The Juvenile Center is 29,000. And then the Public Safety Building, courthouse, 171,000. Kurt Wisenham, again, from Rockford PD. I keep picking up all these Rockford deputy chiefs with a lot of skill set. I got Trent Brass in the EOC, and they do a good job. He is heading this up, and he's doing a very good job, but this is how it breaks out. So it's 13% of the administration building, 15% in adult probation. The CJC is 21 or 23%. The Juvenile Justice Center is 7%, and then the Public Safety Building is 42%. So there's a lot of people coming through, and they're getting the abandoned items. And you can see right there that number of the abandoned items was 3,642. Now, those are not all deadly weapons. However, they're banded items like knives, tasers, pointers, laser pointers, scissors, screwdrivers, wire cutters, wrenches, stuff like that. It's like, gotta leave them here. So they really have to be cognitive of what's coming in here. Like tonight, they're keeping us safe, or for the judges, or for the domestic violence courts, or whatever. So they really are doing an excellent job. And again, I'm overall very proud of the department. Again, this is the 2024 schematic, and really the only true changes is Bob Redmond with Kevin Ogden. I wish him very well. He's done a great job for me the past 9.5 years, and we're just going to continue moving forward and providing the service to our community, like you saw tonight. Any questions? Thank you. Bye. Is there any questions?
Any questions for the sheriff? No. Mr. Lindmark.
Thank you, Sheriff. You and your department do a great job, first of all. But the federal inmates, are we still seeing quite a bit of revenue from them coming in?
We are.
Where are those numbers
It's
at?
down a little bit. I know there was 5 million. It's somewhere in the millions, like 4 point something million. I haven't looked at it recently. They have gone down a little because whatever they're doing, the movement, but we still have that program, and it's a great program that we have. And listen, I'm going to give kudos about Bob, because Bob is the one that brought that on. He always gives me credit, and I appreciate it, but he really was effective in doing that, and then we worked together in keeping the Marshal Service, I guess, serviced, so they continue, because we were providing them a great service up there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions for the sheriff? No?
Okay, thank you, I
thanks,
appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. I just want to acknowledge Alderman Bailey's in the audience, too. How you doing, Alderman? Good. All right, can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 28th, 2024, and lay over the April 11th, 2024 minutes? Motion by Mr. Guevara, second by Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion on the approval or layover of the minutes? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to the approval or the layover? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Next is the consent agenda, which includes the raffle report and the auditor's report. May I entertain a motion by Mr. Hoffman, second by Mr. McCarthy? Was that a second by Mr. McCarthy, or is there any discussion? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to the raffle report or the auditor's report? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Next are the appointments per county board rules. The board chairman appointments require a 30-day layover unless there is suspension of the rule. We have several to read in tonight. First is the 12 Mile Grove Cemetery. Annual compensation is none. First is Gordon Dirkston. That is a new appointment to serve a 6-year term. Next is Mark Hazard, is also a new appointment. It's also a 6-year term. Next is the Cherry Valley Cemetery. The annual compensation is 0. We have Ryan Gordon. That is a reappointment to serve a 6-year term. And Christopher Nelson, which is a reappointment for a 6-year term. Next is the Durant Sanitary District. The annual compensation is $500. We got Ken Gibler. It's a reappointment to serve a 3-year term. Next is the Emergency Telephone System Board, the ETSB Board. Annual compensation is none. Reappointment of Todd Stockberger for a 3-year term, and also E.J. Delenardo, which is also a reappointment for a 3-year term. Next is the Four River Sanitation Authority. Annual compensation is $6,000. And placing up Richard Maurus for a reappointment to serve a 3-year term expiring in April 2027. Okay, we'll move on to the reports of standing committees. First is the Finance Committee. Mr. Butita.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 items tonight. The first one is a resolution authorizing wage increases for non-bargaining unit employees of the county for 2025, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Butita. Is there a second by Mr. Booker? Is there any discussion, Mr. Butita?
No, sir.
Any board member discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Butita.
All right, we also have a resolution authorizing the settlement of pending litigation, Betty Jackson versus Sheriff of Winnebago County, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Butita, second by Mr. Thompson. Any discussion, Mr. Butita?
Just that the amount of the settlement is $950,000.
Thank you. Is there any board member discussion on this resolution? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to the approval of this resolution? Very good. Please cast yes for all members present. Mr. Butita.
And that'll do it for us.
Thank you, Mr. Butita. Next is the Zoning Committee, Mr. Webster. Thank you, Mr. Webster. Economic Development Committee, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Next is Operation Administrative Committee, Mr. Keith McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 3 items for tonight. The first is a resolution to approve telecommunications service contract, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Lindmark. Is there any discussion, Mr. McDonald?
Not for me, Chairman.
Very good. Any board member discussion on this resolution? Very good. Did I ask if anybody opposed? Nobody opposed? Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is a resolution awarding purchase to replace domestic hot water source at Juvenile Detention Center using CIP PSST funds, and I so move.
By Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Mr. Paul Arena.
Thank you.
Nothing. Your face is like. Any discussion, Mr. McDonald?
Not for me, Chairman. Thank you.
Very good. Is there any board member discussion on this resolution for the domestic hot water boiler? No? Are there any board members opposed to the approval of this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our final item is an ordinance amending Section 14-68, dogs running at large, of the Animal Control Ordinance of Winnebago County, Illinois, and this is to be laid over.
Laid over? No. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and consider.
Motion by Mr. Sweeney to suspend the rules, second by Angela Fellers. Are there any board members opposed to the suspension of rules? Very good. Please cast all present as a yes, and the rules are suspended. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will move to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. McCarthy. Is there any discussion on this ordinance?
I would like to
Mr.
have some discussion.
Mr. Penny, please.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody suspending the rules on this, and to give a little backdrop on how we got to this ordinance amendment. It really does close up a loophole that addresses residential properties in ag zoned areas of the county, and it doesn't add any new, I'll say, restrictions for pet owners, but it does extend the restrictions, or the enforcement, I should say, not restrictions. It does extend the enforcement of loose animals across the county and makes it uniform for the entire county. And I want to thank a few people for some good discussions we've had back and forth. I would like to thank Mr. Webster. I was able to speak with Mr. Neighbors on it a little bit, Mr. Sweeney. I really appreciate the insight from Animal Control Director, Ms. Stacy, and Mr. Tresmer over there. I will point out that when this came to light, Ms. Vaughn did an extensive amount of work researching and gathering facts and data from not only our county, but surrounding areas. And she put an immense amount of work into this. So I can't thank her enough. And I'm going to go back to Mr. Sweeney. He also put a significant amount of work into helping bring this to light as well. So that's my comments on that.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Penny. Is there any other discussion on this item? Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So under section 14-68, dogs running at large, we're just going to make an amendment so the entire paragraph will read, no person who is the owner of a dog shall cause or permit his or her dog to run at large in the unincorporated areas of the county. Enforcement of this section shall be based on complaints reported to the Animal Services Department. Restrictions shall not apply when a dog is on another person's property with that owner's permission, and I move that amendment.
So motion to amend by Mr. Sweeney. Is there a second? By Ms. Crosby. Is there any discussion on the amendment to this ordinance? No discussion. Any board members opposed to this amendment? Very good. The amendment is passed. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move to approve the amended ordinance.
Motion to approve the amended ordinance by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Guevara. Is there any discussion on this ordinance? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to this ordinance? Very good. Please cast yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes the report.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Next is Public Works Committee, Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Chairman. No report.
Thank you, Mr. Tassoni. Public Safety and Judiciary Committee, Mr. Lindmark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Lindmark. Legislative Lobbying Committee, Mr. Salgado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Salgado. Unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business in front of the board this evening? Okay. Any new business in front of the board this evening? Yes. Mr. Neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to report or read the obituary of Afric Hazel Cy Simon. He was born October 16th, 1930. He died April 10th, 2024. He was a longtime member of Bethel Mills Course before moving back to Mississippi. He was a member of the Winnebago County Board and Forest City Modulator CB Club. For many years, he was an active member of Welcome Star Lodge, worked for many companies in Rockford, later retired from Rockford Township in 1994. He was also a Korean War veteran from 1949 to 1954, in which he was honorably discharged, and he married the late Clara May Bogan in April 1954. His services will be tomorrow, April 26th, at 10 a.m. at St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church, with the visitation starting at 8 a.m.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you, Mr. Neighbors. Any other new business the board would like to discuss this evening? Very good. We have an announcements and communications from Clerk Gamal.
Thank you, Chairman. I have several things I'd like to share with the board this evening. March 19th was the primary election. It takes a grand effort on the part of many to conduct an election. I want to say thank you to all the voters who were patient and respectful of the process and courteous to the election officials and the other voters. Election judges are the people that work 12 to 14 hours in service to the community to make sure that the rest of us are able to cast our votes. All of these people work very hard to make sure elections are conducted according to the law, and they do this for very little pay. Thank you to the communities, churches, and organizations that allowed us to use their facilities for polling places. Thank you to the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. Each party's representatives were cordial and cooperative with our office. Thank you to the local candidates in this election for working with us and trusting we are here to be fair to all. I want to say thank you to the staff of the election office and their families. Chief Deputy Watts, Election Supervisor Hawkison, Assistant Supervisors Asplin and Madriquez. Many hours of preparation, entering last-minute voter registrations, processing vote-by-mail ballots, and answering hundreds of phone calls are just some of the tasks handled by this stellar group of election professionals. I am so proud of the team we have in the Winnebago County Elections Department. They are absolutely the best. I want to share with you some of the numbers from the March 19th election. Concerning candidates, we had 63 federal candidates, 7 state candidates, and 83 local candidates. That includes precinct committeemen and many of you seated in this room tonight. That makes a total of 153 candidates, and we had 1 referendum question. I do this with a staff of 2. We have 7 area reps, 14 delivery drivers, volunteers on election night that help assist the election judges when they come in, a total of 10. 452 election judges make sure that the day goes smoothly at over 41 polling locations. We have 94 precincts that we serve in Winnebago County. I'd also like to recognize First Midwest for donating the early voting location in Loves Park of 5,000 square feet for us to assist the voters. We had 173 different ballot styles, and we used 50 tabulators. We cannot do this alone. I want to thank and recognize Sean Franks and his team from the Maintenance Department, Dan Majors and his fabulous team from the IT Department, Deb Crozier from the Human Resources, the Finance Department, Lafa Vaughn, you should be very proud of, and her staff from the State's Attorney's Office. Of course, Sheriff Gary Caruana and his team from the Sheriff's Department, keeping our buildings safe and elections safe, and our emergency planning program. The Coroner's Office, the Highway Department, Danielle Grindle, which you know is a Department of One, and Scott Lewandowski from Memorial Hall. We also collaborate with the Rockford Board of Elections and the City of Rockford. On Election Day, we have 92,510 registered voters. We had 3,506 who voted by mail, 795 voters that voted early, and on Election Day, 8,717 voters who cast their votes. I want to thank you also for letting me be your county clerk and the opportunity to serve our community.
Thank you, Clerk Emma.
Just a reminder, your statement of economic interest is due. The deadline is next Wednesday. If you do not have this in, please make sure you get it in by Wednesday. And also, just a reminder, the items listed below were received as correspondence. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Emma. Sheriff, that's how you do it. Okay. Mr. Webster, motions to adjourn, second by Mr. Thompson. Anyone want to stay?